So the other day we watched the movie Hocus Pocus. It's about 3 Salem witches that get hung back in the, 1800s or 1700s, 1600s, I'm not sure. But they get hung and they put a spell on themselves so that they can come back to life if some candle with a black flame is lit by a virgin.
It's called the black candle.
It is called a black candle.
Or the black flame candle.
A new family moves into town, and the boy gets picked on at school a little bit, and he's trying to make friends, but keeps running into trouble. And then he somehow goes into this abandoned house, which was a museum that housed the...
It also has 3 witches.
The witches.
Which was their name? The something sisters?
I don't remember those. So the boy goes into the museum, and he's showing off to the girl he just met, and I guess his sister's there too, little sister.
Yeah.
And he...
and the little sister likes to embarrass him.
The little sister likes to embarrass him in front of the pretty girl.
Oh,
she
also says weird and inappropriate words they're not supposed to say as a little kid.
The little kid says that?
He says like, rude things.
Okay, so they get into the museum, and the boy finds a lighter, and he lights the candle, and it brings back the witches, just in time for Halloween.
Yeah, and the witches come back, and then they escape.
And what are they looking for?
The boy's sister, who said she lit the candle, but she really didn't. She was just trying to protect her brother. I think why the flame is black because it's kind of like nighttime because nighttime is pitch black and the flame is black. And also, if that candle is all gone, they can never be back again.
That's right.
Okay.
So the witches come back, and it's Halloween, and they're looking for the girl.
And they look for the girl, and one of the witches, her power, we think her power is that she can smell children. And the other one is, I think her power is just being stupid. And then the third one is mean, and she's pretty much the leader.
Yeah, and she has the ability to shoot lightning and hover people up or raise them off the ground.
Yeah. So in the movie, they lose their broomsticks in the fight in the house. So they had to fight the witches in the house once they brought them back. And then they escaped. And when the witches started following them, one is on a broom, the other one is on a mop, and then the third one's on a vacuum. And then we were like, and I was like, wait, how can they ride on vacuums and mops? They can only ride on brooms. And then we figured out that they can only fly on things that can clean the floor, right?
Yeah.
And then they get to the town, which is all changed because it was how long ago? It was 300 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, and so everything was so new, and the witches started freaking out because the witch who could smell children couldn't see children because everyone was dressed up. And they didn't know what this was. They were freaked out.
Yeah, they were freaked out on Halloween. What were you going to say, Caleb?
You know why there was mops and vacuums? To clean the museum.
Oh, yeah, to clean the museum.
Also,
and
brooms. You would think that a witch would understand what it was going on a little bit better than you think they would.
I mean, they didn't know the technologies of the current day, I guess.
Yeah. And they also go on a bus, and for some reason, the stupid witch knows how to drive the bus.
Mm-hmm.
That's so weird.
You know what the bus reminds me of? We forgot one more thing.
Oh. What do you mean?
There's a boy that gets turned into...
Yeah, in the beginning of the movie, in the introduction, so the witches were really old, and they wanted to get younger, so there was this other boy that was 300 years ago. That 300 years ago, a boy, he had a sister, and it was everything, there's no technology. The witches were around still, and the witches took the boy's sister, and the witches led her to their house, and the witches were casting a spell on her so they could breathe her soul or something, steal her soul and make them become younger. And the boy doesn't save her sister, and then he turns into a black cat.
Yep, that can speak and lives forever. So back to the bus. The girl who thinks she can drive the bus runs him over and squishes him.
Since he can live forever, it was gross, but
he blows up like a balloon, right?
Yeah.
That was
And
a
that's
balloon.
and so wait. So then that's before so they went to the graveyard, and the witches, they used the ground to lift up the graveyard. It was in the beginning, not the end. And then they had to fight the witches in the air. And one of the witches, the mean witch, she brings her boyfriend back to life.
Her ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
Yeah. What did she do to him?
I don't know why, but she
Sewed his mouth shut.
She used magic to sew his mouth closed so he could never speak, and then killed him.
Mm-hmm.
So she brought him back, and he was a zombie and he couldn't speak.
And then he
The
knife in.
And then they have to fight the zombie, and the teenaged boy, he uses a branch to smash the zombie's head off.
Mm-hmm.
And then he puts it back on.
And then later
They go into the sewers. And the boy cat from 300 years ago, so they met him in the house because the teenage boy tries to light the black flame candle and the cat jumps out so that he wouldn't bring the witches back. But he does. I don't know why the cat doesn't attack him again when he actually tries again.
I don't know. Caleb, what do you want to say?
How can the witch be on the ground?
No, we're not talking about that yet.
When they can't go on the ground.
That's another thing. They can't go on the graveyard for some reason because there's churches.
They set up that the graveyard is holy land that witches can't touch. They
And-
can't cross the path into the graveyard.
And then, so they go into the sewers. The cat knows his way around because he's been chasing mice down there for the past, I don't know, past 300 years. The zombie follows them in there. And that's when they come out of the sewer. And then the cat gets out. And then he gets run over by the bus the witch is driving.
So then most of the movie is them being chased around the town by the witches.
And then later on, near the end, so they fight in the graveyard again. And I don't know why, but so they set up salt. Also a little earlier too, in their house in the movie. And for some reason, the witches can't go past the salt line.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about salt hurts the witches.
This little sister, in a hole, in one of the grave holes. I think it was the one that the ex-boyfriend came out of. They put her in there. Oh, and the ex-boyfriend, by the way, is actually friendly. Is a friendly zombie.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't like his ex-girlfriend because
she killed him.
Yeah, and she also sewed his mouth closed. The teenage boy was about to use a knife to kill the zombie, and then the zombie gets him, and he does the arm around the neck thing and holds the knife about to kill him, and instead he opens his mouth with the knife.
Oh yeah, he cuts the string.
And then he calls his ex-girlfriend a bunch of bad names.
Mm-hmm. Caleb, what do you remember from that point on? Remember they go into the devil's house?
Not the real devil's house, though. It was a guy in a Halloween dress, remember?
I know, but that guy acts like he's known them for years. But then he's not really the devil. It would have been funnier if he was the devil. But it was a real weird interaction. You know, it's also weird. The guy that plays the devil and the woman that plays his wife, their actors are really brother and sister.
Oh my god.
Are they girls? Are they a little...
Brother and sister.
Oh my god, Dad.
Small?
Yeah, when they were little.
Is that really true?
It doesn't matter what age you are. You're always brother and sister.
Is that really true?
Yeah, they were both famous actors that are in comedies from the 70s.
Oh.
Are they still alive?
And that was weird, Dad,
No, I
right?
think they both passed away.
It was really weird.
Anyway, that whole scene was very weird. And then
funny.
Oh, and also I remember how one of the witches, I lost my power.
Oh yeah. When the witch who could smell children says that I smell children but I can't see children, she says, I think I've lost my powers.
do you remember what costumes the kids were wearing?
Oh, yeah. One of them, a kid was in an angel. She turned around and said, "Bless you" to the witches, and they freaked out.
Who else did you see?
Oh, we saw Sonic the Hedgehog.
Those like big
Our
things
dad-
were terrible.
My dad noticed that a kid dressed in Sonic the Hedgehog walked by in the background.
There were a few other ones, too, that I picked out. I forgot what they were now.
And
I think they're probably Disney characters.
back to the scene where they're in the graveyard a second time. So the witches, they fight, and then the girl, she has to come out of the hole. Why does she come out of her salt hole?
I don't remember.
But that salt hole protected her, but now she was out of the salt hole for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, she doesn't get captured again. But the mean witch, she gets knocked into the salt hole. One, she can't. It's impossible because of the salt. The hole is surrounded by salt, and if she goes over the salt line, she bounces back. But she went into the hole over the salt line. And then she also touches the floor of the graveyard, which she also can't do.
It's supposed to hurt her, but she wasn't getting hurt right away.
Yeah. Well, she didn't get hurt at all. Then she climbs out, and she can get out without having to get flown back because of the salt.
How do they defeat the witches?
By distracting them until the sun comes up.
That is right, Caleb. Good job.
There was a curse, so if the black flame candle was lit, they only had until the next dawn, sunrise came. But before that happened, they had to find a children's life to steal so they could keep living.
So did you like this movie?
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I thought I'd like it better, but it was meh. I wish they did more with the witches. What I mentioned before was the witches have all these powers.
Yes.
And those kids are supposed to outsmart them, but they don't really outsmart them very much. They just kind of run around the town.
Daddy, why did they make a second Hocus Pocus book if the witches are destroyed by the sun?
I don't know.
They come back, duh.
No, they don't. They can't come back because that candle is already ruined.
They also trap the witches in the library, and they put them in this, like, what's it called?
Oh, they put them in a kiln.
A kiln, a giant box that can use fire, and they trap them in there by using a boombox to replay a woman's voice. And the witches think that it's a real person's voice because they don't know this technology. And the witch who can smell children is literally putting her ear up to the boombox and knocking on it. And then the two teenagers and the little girl were hiding behind the door that was open, so they closed it on them. And they did something that they shouldn't have done. They turned on the fire in the kiln, and that killed the witch's butt. Then there was this green smoke that came out of the library's chimney, and that was staying there for a bit, and then it came back and they survived.
You remember how the other witch can smell children? You remember how the little girl was also behind the door? How can she not smell the children?
I know she should have smelt them.
Actually, I think she did.
But when they turned, she didn't see it. So how can she?
She's terrible at being a witch, I guess. So was this a scary movie, a funny movie, a silly movie,
It was
a dumb
weird.
movie?
Guys, how much would you rate this on the weird monitor? 1 through 10. How much weirdness?
10.
I'd give it like an 8.
Wait, Dad, 10, 8, 5. Kind of like downward.